So we'll go ahead. My name is Cindy Lynch, and I'm a 4-H leader here in Washakie County, and I am very pleased to introduce Maddee Moore to you this evening. She shares that a highlight of her career is that it's an adventure. She's humbling, finds it humbling and very exciting. She feels fortunate to have been able to make a career in agriculture and build a network in and outside of ag. Working for Neogen has been amazing because she gets to learn something new every day. Thanks for joining us, Maddee.
Thank you guys for having me. I'll share this little presentation for what it's worth. But so, like Cindy said, my name is Maddee Moore. I live. You guys see that in my awesome messy desktop? There we go. I live in Nampa, Idaho right now, and I got started in Eastern Oregon is where I grew up. So for those of you guys that are in rural parts of Wyoming, which I know is a large part of it, and throughout the country, as I know we've got people on from 8 states tonight, which is incredible. I grew up in that rural community, and I understand that. But with that, I had the desire to get the heck out of Dodge. And so I joked that I needed to get out of the the largest ground valley in the United States. So it's a great big round valley that I grew up in. And I was climbing the walls and I wanted out of there like real bad. So I took that opportunity and ran. And I ran as far as Oregon State, which is about 6 hours from home. And I realized that I didn't actually need to be there. So with that, I didn't like the rain, and I ended up at Texas Tech, which, being a 5th generation Oregon Stater, was like a stab for my family that I left. But it was one of the best things for me. And so something that Tris said that I was like, man, I get this, Tris. I'm not saying everybody needs to run away to Texas, but choose your state, choose your city, whatever it is. I strongly encourage people to get out of their hometown because you can always go back. I understand the world's very expensive, but you can figure it out if that's something that you desire to do. But with that, my passion has always been Hereford cattle. I actually was asked today, which I hadn't really ever thought about, like, how did I know what I wanted to do when I went to college? I actually had no idea. I went to college. I thought I was going to be an ag teacher. I thought, but I didn't know. But I was like, I don't know. I'm going to go into animal science because that's what my family has done and my people around me. I also realized that with a science career, that if I had that foundation, I could do anything I wanted. And so within reason. And then I got a business emphasis as well, which has definitely helped me along the way. But, you know, with that being said, there's real college education, and then there's what else you can do within that and getting those other internships and just working and doing all sorts of hands-on things. But other fun facts, I'm determined to try to travel the world the best I can. I've only been to 2 other countries right now outside of the US, but as much as I can and continuing to learn. I love to read, and I'm pretty obsessed with sports. So March Madness is my jam right now. But those are your fun facts. So who is Neogen and what do I do on a daily basis? So right now I have worked for Neogen just about a year. It'll be a year in June. Before that, I came out of a sales career selling pharmaceuticals with a small company called Endovac Animal Health, and we were family owned and operated. And I was there for about 5 years. And so I've kind of bounced around in my career, but that was definitely the longest stint. And to the point of, it's an adventure. I think that any career, and Tris definitely said that, whatever your career choice is, it's always going to be an adventure. And don't think that just one path that you're setting out and you're like, you know what, today I am going to be a doctor. Well, somewhere along the line, like, you might end up being a vet, or you may end up being a vet tech, or you may end up doing nothing with that, what your initial thought process is. You may end up in technology somewhere. Like, you just never know where you're going to be. So just be okay with those road bumps that come up. But so Neogen, we have 3 pillars of our business. We've got a food safety division. So for food plants and food allergens, we developed the first rapid allergen test in the world. And then we've got an animal health division. And that animal health division, if you walk into a feed store anywhere, or a pet store, or a farm goods, or just the Home Depot for that matter, we have products in that store. So everything from rodenticides to needles, our animal safety team handles. I work in the genomics side of the business, and so it's basically the simple version of it is it's the 23andMe of livestock and of agriculture has been our big focus right now. And so we are the world's largest genomic lab. That our main lab is based in Lincoln, Nebraska, and we've got 6 other labs throughout the world that do testing. Like I said, it's mainly been in agrogenomics. So that's anything from finding out the breed of your dog to ensuring that that next world champion bull has the best genetics possible and that he potentially could pass on tenderness factors to his progeny. So it's literally day in and day out. Some days I work on tilapia and shrimp projects, and some days it's blackberries and maple trees. So there's so much within that. And that's probably, like I said, it's one of the biggest joys of my job that I'm always learning and always challenged. And so what do I actually do? My title is Senior Marketing Manager. And the basis of what I do is that I have a marketing plan. And within that marketing plan, I create the outlines that fit our business needs and needs to meet our sales and growth goals for those businesses. And so right now, I'm really focused in our beef, dairy, and canine units. And then we're starting sequencing. And so we're going to be the first commercial sequencing lab in the world focused on agrogenomics. So that's really exciting. We will be actually launching that product officially next week. So and starting all of that chaos. So sequencing has been really talked about a lot recently with COVID. And being able to get answers pretty fast of different strains specifically and being able to read different markers. So as compared to a standard DNA swab or a blood test or anything like that, sequencing still goes through that sample process, but it can read those markers directly on the genome at a lower level and faster than our other technologies. So definitely tied into that technology. I'm learning every day about that technology, but I have no idea some days what is actually happening. So it makes me laugh a lot. But the biggest thing is outlining what those business units need and where I see that need, and then working with our team members and being in tune to what our customers need and how we need to be delivering messages and education to our customer base, which is very broad. Literally from cat breeders to dog breeders to just shrimp breeders. Like you just never know what you're going to find in those messaging. Messaging is very different for audiences. I help to coordinate our team, and our team is all over the world for different events, and that our messaging is correct, and so that a product that we have to sell is consistent across the board with that. And with that, I do get to travel quite a bit. So it's really fun. I've actually slowed down on traveling as compared to what I've done in my past jobs, but it has been an incredible way to experience different cultures throughout the United States, be specifically from an ag perspective, be on different ranches, dairies, swine and goat farms, like you name it. And one of the things I really have enjoyed about those experiences is getting to learn how different operations function. To the standpoint of the wild biologist that's after me, Tony, to be really focused on the natural resource component of it and what we're doing in agriculture to give back to the land. So it's here for the next generation. So that's really been one of the biggest joys of working with my team across the world that I really, really enjoyed. And just in general in my career, but it's a lot of coordination that I do to keep up with people. And then the innovation. So I talked about sequencing, but there's always something new. Sequencing is just one aspect of it, but genomics is changing rapidly because technology is changing rapidly. So agriculture people, I know we hear a lot about on everything that those of us that are involved in advocacy work, we talk a lot about that. Well, should we be modernizing ag? Should we be doing these things the way that we're doing things? Should we be looking to the next generation? And we absolutely have to be. And it's something that's happened across the world with it and across since the beginning of time for man in regards of our food system. And that is up to us, of those of us in agriculture, to make sure that our consumers are educated. So I think innovation is very key to that. And if we're not innovating in agriculture, we're falling behind. And we've got a growing food system to support. So I'm huge on innovation. I love it. And that is one of the biggest benefits of being a part of Neogen is we are constantly innovating and doing a variety of things. So I never know what's coming day in and day out. So, and I talk way too fast. So if you guys have questions, I will try to wrap up here very shortly so you guys can have questions and or get a hold of me after. But the question that I got earlier that I mentioned, like, how did I get here? Like I said, it's been an adventure. My first job out of college, within the first 2 months, I was not sure if I was going to get laid off. I was with an advertising agency, which can be volatile. And with that, we lost a major client. And so I was like the youngest person on the totem pole. I was the newest hire. And so in theory, I was the first one to go. So that was a little nerve-wracking. And from there, I've kind of had some different ups and downs with my job that I've really enjoyed. But with that, of getting to where I'm at and making those decisions of career moves, internships are huge. I cannot stress internships enough. Like, even if you don't think that you apply for something and you're like, oh, I don't think this is probably what I want to do. I don't want to run an art gallery. You know what? You still got to learn to make the coffee and be a great employee someplace. And so I encourage you to jump out there, see if it's halfway interesting, and just try it. Internships are typically 3 to 6 months. It is prime internship time right now. And they lead to my next point there of being networking, because you can never not build your network enough. And it is so big. And industry and community involvement. I absolutely love it. I'm very involved in my state cattlemen's association, our local 4-H and FFA activities. You name it, if there's something that needs to be done and I think it could be fun, I'm probably going to be there trying. So, and being involved with that. So that's what I do a little bit on a daily basis, but I will gladly take any questions.
Thanks so much, Ms. Moore. That's really incredible how you share the dynamic nature of your job, and that you're a pioneer in some ways, and yet you are using, solid science as part of your foundation for that. And I really appreciate you stressing to the kids that it's important to be flexible. Things change, and what might be an obstacle might just really be an opportunity to try something different, and just get out there and be involved, intern or be a volunteer, and find out if it is a good fit for you. So questions, do we have any questions from the group tonight? Miss Bree, go ahead and unmute.
I'm really interested in the genomics, like livestock genetics. And I was wondering if in your job, do you study phenotypes and genotypes in different kinds of livestock? Like, do you study for different breeding characteristics and traits to get like a more advanced livestock or quality?
So I don't directly in my job today, because I'm on the marketing side, but our product managers, they are constantly looking at it. We have a full team of research scientists and development managers, and so they're constantly looking at developing new arrays. What markers do we need to be looking at? How is the industry changing, like specifically on the cattle side of it? But our specialists that are working in the deer population, or that are working with trees or with corn breeding, they're looking to see where those traits are changing. Is it positive? Is it negative? Do we need to be adapting to some other environmental factor? And will a specific trait allow us to do that? But yeah, absolutely. And from that standpoint of looking at going to college, you could go biology, you can go animal science. You just need a solid foundation in that science aspect of it, in my mind. But definitely, as you get those internships, volunteer in the labs, do that undergraduate research, and then go into graduate school and be able to take that to the next step.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great, you guys. Aspen, I see you've raised your hand. Go ahead and unmute.
So, would you, like, if you had to repick your job and you went to the past, would you still pick this job to this day?
I thought about, so I lost my job in 2015 due to, I worked for a grain co-op and the doors closed. And that was like really hard on me. And I thought about, like, do I go into the medical field? Because I have an animal science degree, so I have anatomy and physiology. And with those two courses, that's a foundation to apply into a lot of medical things. So I really thought long and hard about it. But my passion is still agriculture. But I could still do that on the medical side as well. So yeah, if I would have had just a little bit more time to think about it, I may have been in nursing or gone to physical therapy school.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think we'll squeak in one last quick question here. This is from Larson Farms. What kind of internships do you recommend?
Oh gosh, I mean, the sky's the limit. I chose the ones that I thought were interesting to me, but I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, it's whatever, if you read a description or you see that there's a company that you might be interested in, jump on it. It can't hurt to apply. Worst they're going to tell you is no, which sometimes that really hurts. But at the end of the day, like, you just got to apply if something that's interesting. So I thought I wanted to run a livestock show for a while. Thought I wanted to be an ag teacher. I decided that is not what I wanted to do. But I learned a lot of great skills from that. And so it helps you sort those things. So I would say if there's any sort of random internship that you're like, I don't know if I'm interested in agronomy or seed technology, or I mean, literally working with your waste management company in your community, there's endless options. And I'd say apply, because you're still going to learn a lot of basic job skills that are going to enhance your resume in anything that you decide to do.
Wonderful. All right, Ms. Moore, if we have any other questions on our website, we have, and it's probably going to blur you out, but if you go to the virtual career fair website, her email contact is on there, and perhaps you'll get another question or two here later. But I can't thank you enough for being here and kind of, I guess, reassuring kids that we can have ideas, but we have to be flexible and things open up. And even if an internship isn't what we like, at least now we know what we don't like and what we don't want to do. Give us some good ideas for the next. All right, you guys, we'll head back to the main room. We'll see you.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye, guys.